It was a quiet evening in the small town of Jacksonville, Florida, when the Dubowski brothers, Joshua and Ian, vanished without a trace. Known for their close bond and quiet personalities, no one could have predicted that their lives would end so tragically, and in such a mysterious way. In late 2024, the brothers, who had just graduated from university, were last seen leaving their apartment for what seemed like a casual meetup with an old friend. But that night, neither Joshua nor Ian returned. Their disappearance would soon unravel a complex web of betrayal, murder, and a dark past that no one had seen coming. The brothers, Joshua and Ian Dubowski, were both promising young men. Joshua, the elder of the two, was a computer science graduate with dreams of starting his own tech company. Ian, younger by 2 years, had just earned his degree in environmental science. They were close, almost inseparable, always supporting each other in every aspect of their lives. Their parents, who were also in Florida, had always praised the two brothers for their hardworking, respectful nature. They had a bright future ahead of them. The Vanishing Act. On the night of their disappearance, Joshua and Ian had planned to meet with an old friend from high school, a man named Daniel Hutchins. Hutchins had been a part of their circle during their teenage years but had fallen out of touch for several years after he was arrested for a series of small-time crimes. His past, however, didn't stop him from reappearing in their lives when he contacted them through social media, claiming to have turned his life around. Daniel Hutchins had been recently released from prison and was eager to reconnect with old friends. He invited Joshua and Ian to meet him at a secluded cabin on the outskirts of town, claiming that he had a lucrative business opportunity for them. Though suspicious, the brothers agreed to meet, thinking it was an innocent catch-up. That was the last anyone would hear from them. The investigation begins. Days passed, and when the brothers didn't return, their family grew frantic. The local police started their investigation, but initially, there were no signs of foul play. Their phones had been turned off, and there were no major leads to follow. The Dubowski brothers had no known enemies, and their friends described them as peaceful and well-liked. However, things took a darker turn when, after a few weeks, the police discovered something strange. It was a CCTV footage from a local gas station that captured Daniel Hutchins driving a car with 2 men in the back seat, men who matched the brothers' descriptions. But what really raised alarm bells was what happened next. The discovery. After more investigation into Hutchins' background, police learned of his criminal history. He had been arrested several times for petty thefts, drug possession, and assault. Upon his release, he had been working odd jobs, but his financial situation was precarious. The police began to suspect that Hutchins had lured the brothers into a trap, hoping to steal money or valuables. The police then found a series of chilling messages between Hutchins and the brothers, where he had promised them an opportunity to invest in a new business venture. In reality, it was a cover for a robbery. Hutchins had planned to take advantage of the brothers' naivety. As the investigation unfolded, a breakthrough came when police found the cabin where the brothers had been last seen. It was secluded, isolated from the rest of the town. Inside, they found blood stains and signs of a violent struggle. The truth unfolds. Daniel Hutchins was arrested after police found him hiding in a nearby motel. Initially, he denied any involvement, but after hours of questioning, he broke down and confessed. Hutchins admitted to luring the brothers to the cabin under the pretense of a business deal. Once there, he attempted to rob them, but things went horribly wrong. In a fit of rage, Hutchins murdered both Joshua and Ian. He then tried to cover up the crime by hiding their bodies in a remote area, but he was sloppy. Evidence at the scene pointed to him, and his fingerprints were found on the murder weapon, a knife that he had stolen from the kitchen of the cabin. What made the crime even more chilling was that Hutchins had tried to sell the brothers' belongings and had even attempted to use their personal information to gain access to their bank accounts. He had believed that he could get away with it, but he underestimated the love and determination of the brothers' family and the police's dedication to finding the truth. The motive. The motive behind the murders was simple: greed. Hutchins had fallen on hard times since his release from prison and thought that by killing the brothers, he could get away with it and take their money. But it wasn't just greed that drove him, it was also a deep resentment he felt for the brothers, who had managed to escape his troubled past while he had fallen deeper into criminality. Hutchins' motives were fueled by a sense of jealousy. While Joshua and Ian were excelling in their careers and building bright futures, Hutchins felt like he was stuck in a cycle of failure. His inability to cope with his own life led him to make a series of terrible decisions, ultimately resulting in the murder of 2 innocent young men. The aftermath. The case of the Dubowski brothers sent shockwaves through the local community. It was a story of betrayal and violence that no one could have anticipated. For weeks, the townspeople couldn't fathom how someone they once knew could commit such a brutal crime. The brothers' family was left to grieve the loss of 2 young men with so much potential. In the aftermath, Hutchins was charged with 2 counts of murder and theft. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case sparked public debate about the rehabilitation of former criminals and the risks of allowing them to re-enter society without sufficient support systems. Joshua and Ian Dubowski's deaths remain a tragic reminder of the dangers of trusting the wrong people and the dark consequences that can follow when greed and jealousy take over. Conclusion. The story of the Dubowski brothers is a heart-wrenching example of how one person's actions can ruin the lives of many. A simple meeting with an old friend turned into a nightmarish tragedy. What was meant to be a reunion became a tale of betrayal and murder that will haunt the family and the community for years to come. It serves as a chilling reminder that not everyone who enters our lives has good intentions. Sometimes, behind the smile of an old friend lies a darkness that no one could ever imagine.